here today with Mary Gilligan for our next episode of Career Path Interviews. Hi, Mary.
Hi, Dave.
Mary is the Senior QA Manager for Decisiv and has a BA in Communications and an MS in Information Systems. She's originally from Ohio and now lives in North Carolina with her husband, daughter, and very spoiled dog. Mary has had a variety of jobs in information technology, from installing timekeeping clocks and software to working help desk support, and finally in software testing for a variety of different projects. She's always been good at breaking stuff. So, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing all right. So I should tell the audience that Mary and I have known each other. We've worked together on and off for about the past 20 years. So she's doing this for me as a favor, and I could think of no better representative for a career path in software testing.
Yes, we started working together when we were both 5.
That's right. So Mary, tell me about your day job. What's that like? What do you do?
So my job has 2 parts. The bulk of my job is still spent in actual technical work, testing software. So I work with a team of developers, and when they have new features that they're adding to the project that we're working on, I test each thing that they add to make sure that it meets the requirements, that it's user-friendly, that nothing is broken. I also test things that they've fixed to make sure that they are fixed. And so the bulk of my day is spent actually testing software to make sure that it works or to try to break it. And then the rest of my time is spent managing the other testers at the company. So I mentor them, make sure that they have all the resources that they need. They come to me when they have questions or they need something. And, I'm also involved in kind of helping determine the quality strategy for the whole company. It wasn't so long ago that there weren't any software testers at Decisiv, and now we have a whole bunch of us. And so I contribute to determining our policies and our processes for using our software testers to make the quality of our product better.
Okay. Testing as a career path might be a new concept for a lot of our listeners who are high school students. Most of them work on projects that they turn in for an assignment and then it's done. It might be a few hundred lines of code. Let's put some estimates around how big this software is that you work. How many developers work on that project?
So the project that I'm currently working on has, I want to say 4 or 5 front-end developers and 2 back-end developers. And so 4 people working on just the UI side of it, and then a couple of people who are writing all of the queries that run it behind the scenes.
Then there are also
I'm the only
people.
tester.
Then there are people that support it in testing and people that support it in operations.
We have designers and we have technical writers and stuff like that too.
How many years has that project been going on?
The current project that I'm on is new. It started maybe just about a year ago, and we're currently in pilot with 1 customer location. And in the next couple of months, we're actually going to go to beta with multiple customers. So it's kind of exciting because you don't always get the chance to work on a new project before it's been in production. Like a lot of testing deals with the operation and maintenance of existing systems, like some of the other products that we have at Decisiv. But this is kind of fun because it's a brand new project. And so we sort of designed it from the ground up, and it was really fun to be involved with that.
Great. So how did you get into the field? What was your first tech job like?
So when I was in high school, I thought I was going to major in music because I play the violin and I was very serious about it. And when it came time to go to college, I realized, wait a minute, what am I doing? I don't want to do that. So instead I majored in communications, which is what I got my bachelor's degree in. And I actually specialized in radio. So I worked as a DJ, and I was hoping to get a job in radio when I graduated, but the economy that when I graduated from college was not unlike the economy right now. It was terrible. So I actually worked all kinds of jobs, usually clerical, because I'm a fast typist, I did a lot of word processing. We all used to know something called Word Perfect. It doesn't really, I guess it still exists. I don't know. But eventually I got a job converting a big filing system to electronic records. And when I was doing that, I applied for another job, and my manager there was a really big mentor to me. He took a chance on me and hired me to install these timekeeping systems. And he sent me to a whole bunch of training about the timekeeping systems themselves, but I also got to learn all kinds of stuff like, excuse me, SQL Server, how client server applications worked at the time, you know, how to use like crystal reports and all kinds of stuff like that. And so my first really big tech job was that I would go to these companies, they would buy the timekeeping system, and these were big locations like warehouses and hospitals and stuff. And they would send me in. I was called System Implementation Manager. I would go in and figure out what hardware they needed, get it installed, get it configured, and then there was a whole suite of software for configuring all of their rules. Because there's lots of rules for timekeeping, for job timekeeping. Like, you know, if someone works a certain number of hours, they can't work anymore, or they have to be paid time and a half, and they get special rates, and how do they clock in and out for the day and for lunch. So it was very complex. And I spent a couple of years doing that. I did a lot of crawling around on my hands and knees in server rooms, plugging stuff in. And I drove all over Central Ohio. It was fun, but it was hard work. And as part of that job, I spent like one day a week working the help desk for our software. And then when I got engaged to my now husband, we moved down to Virginia, and I got a job in Virginia in help desk. And eventually that company, it was a military contract, but that company eventually had an opening on that project for a tester. And because I had so much experience using the software and figuring out why people were having problems if they had problems, it was a good fit for me to go into testing. So that was my first testing job. And I've been doing that ever since, because I had a really good technical, what's the word I'm looking for? Aptitude. I had a technical aptitude, you know, it's like when you can have two kinds of people, right? You show people a UI for something they've never seen before, and some people will be afraid to click on it because they're like, what if I break something? And I'm the kind of person who's like, ooh, let me click on this, maybe something will break. And that would be exciting. So really, it was meant to be, because that's where I found my calling, is in testing.
So this wasn't like something preordained. You knew when you were 10 years old sitting at a computer you were going to have a tech career.
Oh God, no, not at all. I mean, I'm going to date myself by saying this, but when I was growing up, computers were still a relatively new thing in the home. I mean, we had a Commodore 64 when I was a child, which I was very lucky. Not a lot of kids had that. And when I was in high school, I did learn basic programming on a mainframe. And at that time, it was relatively new to the curriculum. So I definitely wasn't like, you know, sitting there making plans like, oh, I'm going to be a computer engineer someday, because that career didn't even exist yet.
Huh. Well, so like what technology do you use now professionally?
So I do most of my testing on Windows, but I also have a Mac because, you know, we have customers that use both. So I do some of my work on my MacBook and some on my Windows PC. We use tools like Jira for tracking all of our issues and knowing what we're supposed to be testing. I have a QA automation engineer who works for me, who does nothing but automate all our regression tests for the platform. And he's using Java and Selenium and TestNG and Maven and all kinds of Java stuff to write those tests. Myself, most of the time, I'm using, you know, everything is browser based. Everything is a web application now. for the most part. So I'm testing stuff usually in browsers, occasionally on a mobile device, using Jira to record all my findings and stuff, and communicating with people mainly via Slack. So it's all Slack all day long.
You work remotely
I
full-time.
do. I work 100% remote.
Excellent. So what hobbies do you have? What's your life outside of work, especially if you work from home? Work-life balance must be hard.
It's not hard. I mean, it takes a certain kind of person to be able to work at home and not get distracted. And I am that kind of person. I get distracted when I'm in an office, but when I'm working at home, I like being by myself and not having to hear other people talk or drink their coffee or do whatever it is that they do. So it's easy for me to work at home. I make sure that I take breaks and like go for a walk. I try not to eat in front of my computer. Like when it's lunchtime, I go sit in the kitchen and I eat. And I also, when I'm done for the day, I sign off and I try not to look at work again unless somebody slacks me really urgently. But luckily, Decisiv is really good about work-life balance, and that doesn't happen a lot. So what I do in my free time is I'm a total geek and I play a lot of video games. I still play my violin sometimes. I do stuff like crochet, but I would say I read a lot. But the bulk of my free time I spend just fooling around on the internet and playing video games.
Okay, let's digress on video games for a second. One of my sons is addicted to Half-Life Alyx right now. And another of my sons were addicted. He has me addicted. We're playing Don't Starve together, which is this survival-based game. What are you playing these days?
So I actually just started playing Elder Scrolls Online again. Normally, I love third-person RPGs. So I love the Fallout games. I love Skyrim. For a while, I was playing Star Wars: The Old Republic, but I just got back into Elder Scrolls Online, and it's really fun. So,
okay, last question. If you could go back to high school and meet your high school age self, what would you tell yourself?
Invest in Apple. Buy stock in Apple. No, but well, I mean, I probably would, but seriously, as far as personal goals are concerned, I think I would tell myself to pay more attention in computer programming class and stuff like that. I would tell myself to be more open-minded about things like math, because when I grew up, a lot of people told me, and this is so stupid, well, girls just aren't good at math. And I thought I wasn't either. And so it's kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy. I was in honors math and I got pretty good grades, but I still thought I'm not very good at math. So I wish I would go back and give myself a good talking to and say, listen, damn the man, study math, study science, and be prepared when computers take off.
Awesome. Well, thanks for talking to me today, Mary. This has been great.
It was my pleasure. Always great to talk to you, Dave.